to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's a executive director, Space Pirate Theater Collective, no other than Mr. Ben Zingos.
Yep.
Welcome, Mr. Ban on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yeah. My name is Ben. I am a theater artist. I am based in Los Angeles, and I run Space Pirates Theater Collective. I have an incredible team working with me, and we are putting on our first full season this year in 2026 in Los Angeles. Yeah.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Ben. Thank you. So today let's talk about how this nonprofit in Los Angeles is revolutionizing theater and how it's made and how artists and crew are paid. So let's start with the big picture. What does revolutionizing theater mean to your organization, and what the specific broken parts of the traditional theater system are you trying to fix?
That's a great question. So we don't use the term revolutionizing lightly when we say that we are, but like, or at least our goal is to. But yeah, we are progressing with a model that essentially puts artists first and addresses an issue in the regional theater scene, and honestly, the theater scene in general in the United States, which is that artists are widely underpaid, and when they are not underpaid, the ticket prices tend to be pretty out of reach for most working people. And so our mission is essentially to simultaneously uh, provide a full season of plays in which all performances are radically affordable. Our tickets are capped at just $10, while at the same time still paying a Los Angeles living wage to all artists and crew. So we pay this to actors, stage managers, directors, writers, all the standard people who get paid a living wage in a union, high level production. But we also guarantee a living wage for our front of house, for our front of house manager who kind of doubles as an usher. They're intimate venues, so we don't really have a huge front of house team, but even still, that crew plus our security, everyone involved gets paid that same living wage. And that has actually never happened in American history before. There's never been a theater, at least to my and a theater historian who I have checked with knowledge. There's never been a theater that has run a full season in which all of the plays are radically affordable while still paying all artists and crew a living wage. So that is what we've set out to do in Los Angeles, and because of our unique nature as an immersive company and our ability to go into unconventional spaces and transform them and bring audience to those spaces, we are able to radically reduce the costs of running the theater, because that's one of the biggest things in Los Angeles, especially, is venues are very expensive for traditional performing arts, but non-traditional venues are much less expensive. And so all that money we save, we just put directly towards artist wages. And then the other area we save on is from, frankly, greed. There are a lot of arts organizations that pay their artistic director or executive director, whatever the title is, in the 200,000 plus range, because they have a PhD or a master's degree. I say this as someone with a master's degree. Like they think that they deserve that level of pay when the artists and crew are getting paid peanuts. And that's just not how we operate. So and our entire team of directors, the leadership, all make the exact same wage. It's all based on time worked, as anyone working on any one of our shows. And even further, we give all artists and crew an equity stake in the success of the show. That's also never happened, at least to our knowledge, in American theater. Normally, if you're an actor or a crew member and a show takes off, it's got great reviews, really good word of mouth, it's selling a lot. selling a lot of alcohol and concessions every night, the show's making a lot of money, doing well, your wage stays exactly the same. It doesn't matter. You can do an amazing job and be the reason why that's happening, but you don't get any more money for it. We also want to change that. So once all base, production costs and wages have been covered, any additional money produced by the productions, that specific productions, such as tickets, alcohol, as a nonprofit, all donations to us are tax deductible, so people can donate at the show as a way of basically tipping if they have the means to pay more than $10. If they're like, "Wow, that show was amazing. I would have paid $50 for that." You can tip $40 and also get a tax receipt for it. And so all that money just goes into a pot and then is split evenly between cast, creative, and crew, just based again on time worked at the end of the production. And this is all very new, but we are confident that we can, our first show is coming up. It's going to open February 6th. We're confident that we can start strong and put together a full season and make history in Los Angeles and America.
The phrase how it's made suggests fundamental shift in a process. Is your revolution more about the art on the stage, the ecosystem behind the curtain, or incredibly both?
I would say it's definitely both, because we do also want to change how people look at live theater. I went to grad school basically to develop and codify an immersive design methodology, which is what we largely operate with, which basically asks artists, directors and designers to, instead of trying to transform a traditional theater space into something that feels like somewhere else, it's actually a lot more cost effective and, in my personal opinion, often more artistically effective to go find a real world location that, through its natural use and habitation from people living and working in it, cries out for a specific play to be staged in it. And you go to this space, it's always going to be cheaper, pretty much, than a regular performance venue. And at the same time, you save a lot of money on the design because a lot of what you need is already there. It's just about making choices to augment and really heighten the latent immersive aspects of the space, and you create this fully realized world audiences can step into. We did a test run production in 2024 that was set in a wine bar, and we did it in a real wine bar, and to great effect, at least in my opinion. And it's all about that, artistic, revolution. We want to really redefine how people look at theatrical design and how expensive it even needs to be in the first place, especially with the rents that a lot of venues will charge. Uh, and then also, we want artists to, at the same time, benefit and be paid, and also actually get to benefit from the quality of their work specifically. Not just that they're getting paid, a good wage and that's it, which is still really good, honestly. Most places don't even do that. That would still be a totally worthwhile thing. We want to go one step further and actually give them ownership in the success of the show.
The success of the show, for sure. So, Mr. Ben, in an industry often reliant on unpaid labor and passion capital, why did you decide that meaningful or reimagining how artists and crew are paid is the absolute cornerstone of your mission?
I would say it was kind of selfish in a weird way for me because I have a few conditions for like how I operate. I want to be paid a living wage because I want to be
Mm,
able to eat. I come from a
yes.
single mother who's a public school teacher. I'm working class through and through, and proud of that fact. And I want to be able to eat while making my art, and so the living wage is there for that. But also, like, the reason it's so essential everyone gets paid for me is that, like, I really just have a problem with, like, financial inequality, and especially when it comes to like what you are contributing to the process. Like, I really love the fact that we are Space Pirates Theater Collective because we take some inspiration from 17th century pirates. The way that we, give everybody a stake in the success is similar to their share systems, where you would be on the voyage and if you guys got a lot of great treasure, then you had a stake in that treasure that was even the same as everyone else. The captain actually got twice as much as everyone else, and like the quartermaster got 1.5. We don't do that. Everyone actually makes the exact same wage. The pay scale is completely flat. But we give everyone that same equity stake, and that's just because I want everyone to have what I have, because I have a really strong philosophy that, like, if you're on an artistic project, like, unless you're bad at being a producer or casting person, like, everybody that is hired should be essential. You should not be hiring anyone who doesn't need to be there. And if someone is essential, in my brain, by definition, like, they deserve to be paid the same as everyone else. If you are essential, if the show can't happen without you, there's no argument that I, just because I'm the one who started the organization and I'm the executive director, and blah blah blah, I have a degree X Y Z, whatever reason you want to give, like, if this person is also essential as I'm essential as the producer and scenic designer, then there's no argument in my brain for them making more money or making less money than me, for me making more than them, or for anyone making more than anyone else. And so that is why it is really focused on both the living wage, everyone getting it, and at the same time remaining affordable for audiences. At my heart, I really want kids and young people who want to see theater, who want to see exciting, avant-garde new art that is doing something that's really interesting. Like, I want the people who don't have money, who want to see that stuff, to be able to see it. Because, like, $10 as a ticket, like, it's not unreasonable if you're a working person, like, to take yourself out for $10. But like movies nowadays, those can be $30 to $40. That is not reasonable. If you're making minimum wage, living paycheck to paycheck, you can't afford that much, like, of your work, 2 hours of your labor, just to see a movie or see a show. That's just not reasonable for a lot of people. And like, I missed out on so much theater growing up as a kid, purely because the tickets were 50, 60, $70 when what we could really afford was 10 or 20. So that's really why we have to do all of these things at the same time. They all feed into each other. They're all linked.
Mr. Ben, on the financial and operational mechanics, revolutionary pay requires revolutionary funding. Can you break down your sustainable financial model? Is it reallocation of traditional budgets, new revenue streams, philanthropic innovation, or something else entirely?
Yeah, so it's a combination. I have an incredible development director. If you look at our about page on their name, Nicole Farrell, and she is a grant consultant. She's been basically helping nonprofits, get started and get major foundational funding for well over a decade. And she has joined us and done a great deal of work for us. She's to date, I think, written just about $1.5 million in grant applications, and we've received definitely not that much. You never do. Even the best grant writers tend to get 20 to 25% of the things they apply for. But like, we've applied for quite a bit of grant foundational funding. We also have various crowdfunding campaigns that we've launched. We have another one we're going to launch during the rehearsal process, once we've got some footage and bits from that, where we can really be like, hey guys, the show's happening. We really need as much funding as possible to make it as amazing as possible, kind of deal. But we also look at local businesses for sponsorships. Because we're a nonprofit, a 501(c)(3), any contribution made to us by a foundation, a business, or any individual is completely tax deductible. And so with that, we, primarily fund our productions through the, generosity of local sponsors, foundations, and individuals who believe in what we're doing. But at the same time, when the show is running, we do have revenue streams that are actually pretty viable. Part of our model is that we have very low upkeep costs. Our weekly, breakdown is basically entirely dependent on wages. We cover our venues up front. and they're always, again, compared to what you would normally be paying for the size of venue, just dramatically less expensive. So that is already like a big obligation just taken away from us. So that means we can operate with a much smaller budget while still paying people a living wage than a lot of theaters would otherwise need to if they had a permanent space they had to either maintain or rent. In addition to that, we also during the show have the ability to sell alcohol. We partner closely with a variety of different local sponsors when it comes to getting alcohol because it's very often that distilleries or breweries will have surplus and basically be able to get a really good tax write off for donating it to our event. And then we sell it for actually very reasonable prices. We don't gouge our consumers at all when it comes to drinks or concessions or anything, because as again a nonprofit, we're able to get a lot of things for free or very reduced prices, and so we don't need to charge an arm and a leg to make a solid profit. And when the show is actually up and running, I've done the math. You know, if two-thirds of a 70% audience, which 70% is considered like, solid for a run of a theatrical production. If you have 70% capacity, like that's a solid night. A good night is, 80, great night is 90, outstanding night is 100 or close to it. So like if we're at that 70 mark, even just doing fine, we only need about two-thirds of our audience to buy one drink, and that alone has paid for our costs for the night. And that is actually really, really low for like upkeep costs. Most theater productions would not be able to do it on that. And part of that comes from the fact that as a nonprofit, we also apply for special, dramatically reduced price liquor licenses because our team is all liquor certified. So we have a very unique combination of lower costs plus obviously nonprofit classic funding streams of grants, sponsorships, and individual donations. And then also we have concessions and alcohol that do a pretty good job of covering our costs. And then again, if the show is doing well and we have people coming and seeing it, hopefully people who are more well off that come to see the show are moved by everything and our mission and will be inspired to donate and give a little more. And that's how we eventually, hopefully, get to a surplus during a run where everyone is going to be getting a bonus at the end of the show from their equity stake.
So, how do you define a living wage or equitable pay for artists and crew in Los Angeles? Is it hourly rate, a project fee, or profit sharing of a hybrid model?
Yeah, so the way that we do a living wage is pretty simple. We pay $1,060 a week. This is a pretty intentional number. We do basically 15 to 20 hours of actual like work a week. So people's schedules are not committed for more than 20 hours in any given week because that's just the way rehearsal tends to shake out. We don't need more than 4 hours a day for rehearsal Monday through Friday, and usually it's closer to three unless the play is really long. And during the actual run, we do 6 shows a week. Shows can be anywhere from 90 minutes to 2.5 hours. But even still, 6 performances in a week is well below that 20-hour mark. And so 1,060 for essentially part-time, allowing people to have another 20 hours at least in the week if they want to work full-time. That is what we would define as a living wage because we're essentially paying a little over 50 an hour, which in Los Angeles, if you're an artist living, frugally, reasonably, that is absolutely a living wage.
As an executive director, what are your short term and long term goals, Mr. Band?
Short-term and long-term goals. That's a great question. Short-term goals, I really want to get us through this first production that we have opening in February. I want to like have it open and have it go well, have, the community really respond to it. Ultimately, the point of doing all of this is like we want to serve our community. I want the artists to be getting paid. I want people to be able to eat. I'm really not into the whole passion, like, oh, your passion is what feeds you. It's like, no, you need money to feed you. That's the society we live in. And so, we really need to at the same time though still be accessible. And so like I just want the community to be able to see this, enjoy it. Unfortunately, the economy is really bad right now. It's made it harder for us to get as much funding as we would honestly like to have. But we really, want everyone who is struggling and who needs a break to feel like I can go see a good quality professional show where I know no one's getting exploited. I can just feel good about that. I can have a drink that is not $25. We charge $15 for a mixed cocktail and $12 for beer or wine, which in Los Angeles is for events is I think very low. I go to a lot of concerts and it's never that cheap. So, that's pretty good. But yeah, we want people who are working and who like are just LA community, whether you've been here since you were born or, you're one of our welcome new friends and are, you know, doing your best to make it out here. Like we want you to come see a show and enjoy it. Like that's our ultimate goal. So yeah, that's my short term. I want us to have a great show. I want to serve the community. I want it to be well received. And then long term, I would like that to lead to more substantial funding so that we can guarantee the rest of our season happens. Because frankly, right now, the only thing we know is going to open is the first show, like with 100% certainty. We have a lot of good signs from funders for the rest of our season, but nothing is set in stone yet for those ones. And so the more support that we have, the better this first show goes. The more likely it is the funders who've given us positive indications are going to follow through and fund those later shows. Yeah, those are my short and long term goals. I have no long term goals past this first season. If we can get to the end of this first season, have it all happen as planned, I will have, I think, 2.5 months off and until the next season should begin. And I would just be so happy that it all, the season happened that I would just be breathing and focusing on how to then take that momentum and turn it into a second season.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Van. I'm looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Ooh, what would my advice be? Um, I would say I don't want to give anything that's cliche. I want to give something that's like really specifically useful. Be a student. Don't be afraid to listen. I know I say that as I've just been talking a lot, but I have gotten all of my best like advice in life from closing my mouth and letting people around me who had something valuable to say actually say it. And that can be hard sometimes when you have a lot of passion, when you have a lot of drive, when you really want this thing or you really want to make this thing work and you want to pitch the vision and you want to tell everybody about it. And it means so much. Like if you can take a breath and close your mouth for a second and like listen, really listen, you'll probably learn what you need to learn to actually make the thing you want to talk about happen. Um, all my other advice would just be Vampire Weekend lyrics, so we should probably move on.
Thank you for that advice, Mr. Van. And can you please recommend a book of books that influence your journey?
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I would definitely have to go with The Haunted Stage by Marvin Carlson. This is going to be a pretty, nitty gritty details if you're into theatrical design and like understanding what makes anything that is entertaining and anything that is meaningful that you experience in real life actually like function and work. Yeah, the haunted stage. It's I think it's the haunted stage, then a colon. The theater is memory. Um, by Marvin Carlson. It basically uses theater as a way of understanding how art and life even like functions as a variety of layered lenses that multiple people are looking through at different angles based on their own memory, and memories kind of have their own lives as though they're ghosts. It's kind of a wider concept, but it really changed how I looked at the world and art and how we connect as humans. And it's definitely been very influential on me as an artist.
Well, Mr. Ben, thank you for that recommended book. So, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in sixth season this year. And Food 101 is in sixth season as well. Comedy 101 in its third season. Geography 101, Love Letters. Movie 101, Review Music 101, our fourth season. Science 101 and Sex 101 in its third season. And My Baby Podcast, Trivia 101. Law 101, Motivation 101, Entrepreneurship 101, and of course, Bible Verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcasts. So, Mr. Ben, looking ahead, what is your ultimate measure of success? Is it about number of artists paid fairly, the cultural shift you create in LA, or a national conversation you're speaking?
I would say my ultimate measure of success is how many audiences like get to feel how many audience members get to feel the way really great theater makes me feel and gets to feel transported to another world. That's ultimately what I'm in this for, but it does have to happen, like you said, with with the artists being paid well. So yeah, my measure of success is how many audiences and how much with the art that I make can I move people and and inspire the same feelings that I feel when I watch what I think is really great theater, or even experience what I think is really great art, while still at that same time not exploiting anybody, not having anybody be struggling while working, having everyone be treated fairly and have the same experience, at least in terms of compensation and just being treated like they are valued and matter. Like I want everyone to be feeling as good in the theater as me, essentially.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Ben Zingos. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your projects, or anything you want to promote on Book 101?
Yeah, if you'd like to check us out, please head to spacepirates.theatercollective.org. Theater spelled RE, not ER. Yeah, we are putting on our first show. It's Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill, which recreates one of the final concerts of Billie Holiday's life and career. We're doing it in this amazing venue. It is a tiny, or not tiny, but like an intimate pop-up nightclub called the Zebra Room, which is located inside of the historic Charlie Chaplin studio in East Hollywood. The ambiance is incredible. It's a total nightclub vibe. We're going to have amazing drinks and a just awesome time. So please come see the show. And if what we're doing inspires you, if it moves you at all, and you have the means to do so, please consider going on our website and going to the support tab and making a donation. Truly, any and everything helps. It really goes a long way, and it just also really moves us and inspires us to see new and more people showing their support and giving us their confidence in that way. So yeah, we'd be honored to have you at a show, uh, first and foremost, and even more so if you are able to give. Thank you.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Ben Zingos, because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering advocacy like this will rise. So, I have one more question, Mr. Ben. If you could change one policy, grant requirements, or union rule that city or national level to make your model easier to adopt everywhere, what would it be?
Ooh. Um, I will say the union has been actually incredibly helpful with our unique model. They are very willing to work with theaters who are actively trying to pay artists a living wage, as it turns out, because they're a good union. Like they basically like found a way to make the space that we were working in for this first show work under their regular 99 seat agreement, which normally actually only offers minimum wage, but we have a rider that guarantees the actual living wage that we're giving at the same time. Complicated stuff, but basically, like, the union is ready to work with you if you're willing to make this kind of thing happen. What would really help is if the federal, like the National Endowment for the Arts, was not currently so reactionary and only willing to fund things that are supportive of the current administration, as well as simply having a wider like engagement of arts in general, like by the government. Like, we should be paying a lot more artists to make art across the board. Like, I'm not just, I'm of course I am selfish saying this about my own theater. Like, of course we would love to have more access to funding, but like there's just not enough funding. Period. Whether it's us getting it or not, more arts funding is needed because the arts are what teach us empathy. They're what teach us love. They're what teach us compassion. Everything that matters and everything that brings us together is what is given by the arts and what is taught by the arts. So that is what we really need to support from a policy level.
Yes, so Mr. Ben Zingos, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's great talking to you, Daniel.
Likewise, Modican people, see you soon.